Hey guys, so we just cleaned out the new baby ducks home. These guys came home yesterday, and I just cleaned out, put some fresh bedding in. We used shredded newspaper and cardboard for most of our animals' bedding. We live in the country, so we actually get a lot of deliveries of this kind of stuff. So the best thing we can do is shred it all into bedding, and once it's soiled, we throw it into our compost pile so it gets a second life. But anyways, I'm going to show you guys getting them used to hand feeding so they can get more used to us. Now, after I hand feed them, I always put them in a bowl so they have free access because they need to have a lot of food per day. As you'll see, they eat incredibly fast. My goodness. It's amazing how they can do this and not choke. I mean, they need to go get their water afterwards, but look at those guys go. Sorry for the weird coloring. My ducks aren't actually green, they're normal colored, but they're under a mercury vapor bulb for heat, which actually gives them some UV too, which I feel is helpful because a lot of birds actually benefit from having UV for their eyesight, and they'll be going outside anyways, so. But yeah, bad color. And the camera thinks that the background combined with ducks is green for some reason. Not interesting. But in span time for me to explain that, 6 ducks can finish off a handful of food. Grab another one for them. Now they gotta go for drinks and wash it all down. I've actually got them in this tote, and I have it angled down in their water dish down in that bottom corner because ducks get water everywhere. They are very difficult to keep clean. So having their water at the bottom corner, hopefully it doesn't splash so much up. This bedding has to be changed out 3 times a day. Otherwise it's soaked completely because they just spread everywhere. And as a result of getting so much water, their poop is really watery too. So warning if you're getting ducks, lots of really gross wet poop. But anyways, if you can tolerate all that, they are cute little guys and delicious too. These guys we got to establish some new breeding pairs, but probably going to only look to have 2 males and 2 females, and they will ultimately be raised for meat, specifically their offspring. The eggs are really good too. But we've raised chicken, duck, rabbit, and sheep, and I think that duck is by far my favorite. Sheep and lamb is different. I actually really like older sheep like mutton, but it's definitely an acquired taste. It's very strange and it's pretty strong, but I actually like it like that. Get some rosemary and some garlic, salt, and pepper, and you have yourself a delicious meat. But as far as Whitney goes, ducks are extremely fatty, so they sort of fry themselves as you cook them if you cook them low and slow, and it is just a whole unique experience to anyone who has duck. They know what I'm talking about. But this was our first year, well, this past year here was our first year raising and eating duck, and yeah, so it was really cool. And I know some people would feel it's very strange for me to be sitting here and talking so sweetly to these little cute babies while talking about eating them, and I feel it's important that if you're going to eat meat, you still should not see the animals as food, because these guys are living things. You know, they're adorable and they deserve to have a happy, comfortable life and be loved, even if they are going to eventually have a quick moment of discomfort and then eventually end up on our table. Raising animals and processing them has really given me a greater appreciation of, you know, my food and where it comes from. It's a lot easier just to go to the store and buy meat and not think about the whole process, but I think if you want to eat meat, you should really acknowledge what we're doing. And so it's cool being able to raise some at home because I knew how the animals were treated and I know how their lives ended, and I want those to be as good as I can physically provide. Hi. Would you like some more? And I mean, you saw the way that duck just looked at me. If you can just stop seeing them as living things and be heartless about processing them, I understand it's probably easiest to do it that way. But, you know, I'd prefer to consider the ethics of what I'm doing. I'm comfortable with it, and I totally understand why some people aren't. I'll never judge people for not eating meat. I can't argue against the fact that it is a bit of a, there's a lot of cognitive dissonance there going between having these cute, sweet baby animals knowing some of them will be food someday. But I prefer to juggle that than to act like that's not what's happening. And I'd rather take on the emotional and physical burden of doing as much of it as I can myself than hoping that some large organization is going to be able to give the animals the same kind of care. And this is definitely not the cheapest option by far. Raising your own meat, unless you do it large scale, is really inefficient financially, because meat inherently is. So, another thing you have to accept. Eggs, a lot more economical, but if you're raising them for food and you only get one, oh, that was so adorable, that little shape. You're only getting one meal out of a single animal's life. Yeah, not efficient at all. We can't pretend it is. But I love these guys, and I'm excited for some of them to become food. And I really hope that animals understand English, because how awkward would that be? They're like, well, so that's what this guy got set up for us? I'm okay with it, though. And I'm okay with people not appreciating or understanding how I can do that. We all look at things differently. And so I'm not going to sit here and try to convert people to eating more meat. I'm not going to steer people one way or the other. I do have an issue with people who seem to eat meat out of spite. Like, recently it's been a trend where I've noticed that some folks seem to, like, make a performance of eating meat to, like, an excessive degree. And I just don't understand the point of it. Because to me, that not only says that you don't value the animals, but you see food as, like, something to weaponize or flex on people with. I'm not a fan. Oh, that was them swallowing. Yeah, most birds don't have traditional swallowing muscles, so they actually have to physically move the stuff down there into their crops like that. And so you see at the bottom of this guy's neck here, those big bulges, they have an organ there that they store the food along with usually some grit to help break it down further before it goes into their digestive tract the rest of the way. And when they're really full, they can look completely ridiculous, like with that guy there. It looks like they have a second head almost. So I didn't mean to make this into like a whole rant thing, but I just wanted to get that out there because I think it's important to talk about. And I think it's a good thing for people to be realistic about the world around them. And still try to be kind and caring. But also be able to defend the positions you want to stand behind, because if you can't, maybe you should think about why you hold that position. Anyways, glad I could share these cute little babies. Take care.